pretty good bit of negativity from the format was always changing. Well, I think this year they got it pretty much right from a technology point when they did one period with, two periods without. You get to see a mix. It was entertaining, I think, for the fans to watch, and that's what it comes down to. I think a lot of the anglers have their own personal opinions that don't really matter in the big scheme of things. I think the big question is, do fans want to see Livescope? And the schedule does absolutely matter when it comes to that, because I feel like the leagues are trying to do a better job scheduling certain tournaments, where they know Livescope is not probably going to dominate. But as we've seen, guys are really, really good with it, which is fine. And they've been able to excel at places where maybe it's not always has dominated. So with that being said, I think it's cool that, they're going to, who knows? Tomorrow's the day they're going to decide which lakes, by a coin flip, which lakes we're going to be allowed to use it or not use it. So, personally, I'm excited because I think it's going to be refreshing. Let's say we go to Lake Champlain. Okay, if it is a live scoping tournament, 90% of the field is going to be doing it. It wasn't one like that last time we were there. He may have used it a little bit. Ed won it largemouth and smallmouth mix, figured out something different. But I think from a viewership standpoint, you're going to see a lot more power fishing, old school techniques, which people like to watch. It's just a fact. So I don't think there's going to be a lot of negativities in it from a viewership standpoint, and I think that's a bonus, and that's a good thing. So I'll get out and let y'all talk.
That's okay.
Yeah, I'm echoing bad. Well, Joe Lee's one of the ones that I had talked to about it, that, he was good either way. Craig, I sent you an invite, so whenever you want to come in. But he was good either way. It was the younger guys were not good with it. But look, I think that Bassmaster did a great job of scheduling. I think that they did a really good job of scheduling this year. I think that the weather helped them out to get it half and half. But it was like I was talking to one of the scopers today, and I don't care either way. Craig and I talked about this today. I don't care either way. What I know is that, or what I don't know is that how it does affect the conservation side of fishing, and we have definitely seen how it affects the industry as far as the bait companies and that sort of thing. And now they're having to transition into more of the live scope era, but initially it did hurt the fishing industry. I know we don't buy as much tackle as we used to.
I apologize. I'm enjoying one of your favorite ABT sponsors, Jack's Cheeseburgers.
Oh, I had one just a few minutes ago. G Money, somebody asked if y'all smashed them up in New York.
I could move there today.
To New York?
Yes, sir.
Damn that.
No, Craig. I said that. I said I'm getting in the middle of all this BS up here in New York. The nicest people I have ever met in my – now, Syracuse airport was a little crazy, but when we got around the lake, it was the nicest people I've ever met in my life. They have so much in common with everybody. It is awesome.
Man, the other thing, G, it's as out in the country as we live here.
100%. Far, yeah, even more.
Yeah, it's out in the middle of nowhere.
They got the SEC up there?
No, sir. But hey, I did get a couple roll tides in my Alabama shirt, and then I took it off after Saturday.
I'm just gonna throw this out there. I'm glad that Bass done eating. I'm glad that Bass has tried to improve the viewing pleasure of the viewers and tried to say that they're going to go half and half. However, do we really think that they're really going to flip a coin to see where gets live scope? Just your opinion. Do you really think they're flipping a coin? Or are they going to go with, hey, those ain't really live scope lakes. Let's say it landed on heads. Hey, those are absolutely live scope lakes. Let's say those landed on tails. I'd be willing to bet 4 out of whatever are just absolute live scope lakes.
I don't know, and I honestly don't know what I would choose. Like if I would want to allow them to use live scope at the Tom Bigby. I don't know which one I would choose. I don't know how I would choose. I mean, do I trust Bass to do a coin flip? Well, hell no. I don't trust Bass with anything.
Not that you trust them. Do you think that's what they're really going to do? Do you think that they're going to give it a 50-50 shot at Lake Murray not being able to use live scope on Lake Murray?
I don't know. Cole Edwards said that, yeah, the Arkansas River or the Tom Bigby. I mean, it's not going to be a coin toss where, okay, we're going to take the Tom Bigby and the Arkansas River. One's going to be live scope and one's not. No, they're not going to do that. No, I don't believe they'll flip a coin.
I think it would be cooler to take the places that aren't dominated by live scope and let them use live scope. The Pascaton. Let them use live scope there. Take away live scope for Murray. Let's see them go fish cane piles without live scope.
Yeah, and
I think
Captain Ron just said, and I won't call the name of who it was, but he said it's crazy to see the young anglers being upset about it. I did get a very long list of every fish a particular angler caught this year. It told me exactly how many he caught on live scope, how many he caught non-live scope, and it was 50%. Okay, but that's because we did go places where you didn't need to use live scope, and the weather helped that too. You know, it flooded at the Sabine, it flooded at 10 Killer, and so that helped it. But I heard from 3 different of the young anglers, the scopers today, and all 3 were highly upset about the rules change. All 3 were. I did talk to 2 anglers that were old school anglers that were highly upset that it wasn't banned, period. So, I mean, you know, you're never going to make everybody happy, obviously. But, you know, in my opinion, this does tell us who's the more well-rounded angler after 9 events. If half of them were no scope and half of them are with scope, I think our angler of the year this next year, is going to tell us, at least we're going to be able to say that guy was well-rounded.
Can we, there's something that I keep seeing. Austin, this is no hate towards you because you said it. I keep seeing it. And let's cut one of these things out that's kept being said. Such and such will still win without it. I am so tired of hearing Joe Legg still win without it. Nobody's saying nobody can win. You're talking about the consistency that these anglers have had over the past 2-3 years. That's the biggest thing that'll change. Anybody can still win a tournament. Okay, like nobody is saying that, oh, these kids will never win. You can luck up and win one. Now, it's harder to luck up in the elites. However, you can still luck up and win one. But it's the consistency that it will change. It won't change the fact that there's still going to be a winner at every tournament. It's the consistency. The same reason that people fuss about it is it raised the average. Okay, that's what these guys make their money off of.
Okay, I keep seeing Trey will top 5 AOY next year. Trey will top 10 AOY next year. How do you know that?
They don't. They don't. They think these kids are the same level as KVD at every little technique, but at the end of the day, the fact of the matter is they're not. That would be like saying that G Money can go fish the pros because he's that good with the frog. That's the dumbest shit you'll ever hear.
Bullshit. Now, hold up.
Somebody said he's well-rounded. I totally agree that if I had to pick one guy that I thought was still going to be consistent next year, it would be Trey McKinney. I would say that. But to say he's going to top 5 AOY, let me tell you something. Joe Lee's still in here. I wish he wasn't echoing, because he'll tell you how hard it is to make top 5 in the AOY. And Craig, the one argument that Craig has made for the last 2 years is about Livescope allowing some anglers to be so consistent, and that's abnormal. It's abnormal for a person to dominate. But now that we have Livescope, we have several people dominating.
Yeah, well, before, KVD dominated to an extent. That was back when there wasn't but so many anglers, and not everybody got, like, these kids are dominating in the largest group of fishermen that's ever been in this sport. In a sport that you just simply can't dominate. You're not supposed, the sport is built to where you shouldn't be able to dominate like that. And we're saying that it's not Livescope. And I didn't mean you can't fish. I just meant that you could take a frog and compete anywhere. Like, it's one technique. And one technique raised the bar to where these kids can be pros at 19 years old.
Hey, I promise you, and one thing that I don't know how these people can fight with, if you go out there and prove, I was in New York last week, if you cut off that Livescope screen, I'm going to the house. Like, 100%, I'm not going out there to blind cast at some effing boulders.
So
I guess I'm just going to float around, because Livescope was everything out there.
I agree. And Cut by Corey said he got second 2 years in a row. Odds are in my favor. He got second 2 years in a row where there were no limitations to Livescope. I'm not down in Trey. I'm not discrediting Trey. I'm just telling you the facts that, and all three of these people that are in here right now can tell you that when there's no Livescope, it's a lot harder to be consistent. Okay?
Dude, we were picking the biggest fish off the boulder. There would be 3 fish, 3 dots on a boulder. We shot on them with a Livescope, say that one's bigger in the front right there, and drop it on its head, and it would bite. How are you going to do that with 2D?
I watched Jesse Wiggins do it on a video one time. Careful. But all jokes aside, you're right. And all these people are like, well, he finished second. Gerald Swindles won nearly $5 million. He finished like 70th this year. We don't want to mention that. Like, as stuff changes, you have to adapt. And if he can't adapt to actually going and having to do every single thing he's got to do without that box, that changes things. One
more thing about this comment right here. If it's that easy, why doesn't everyone do it? Why isn't everybody on the Elite Series? Whatever. It is, if it's that easy.
It ain't easy.
The fact, I mean, like, I don't know how you make that argument when, this guy cannot use Livescope, but he also can't skip a jig. He can barely throw a bait caster. So, I mean, I don't understand that argument of, like.
Not only that, I'll be the.
It's not easy, but neither is fishing. Regular fishing is not easy.
Hand me my spoon, Slick. We're going to stir the pot on this one. I hate to tell y'all, but I don't know if you've been watching the weights in the Elite Series. They've all went up since Livescope came along. They've all went up. Now,
on the average.
I do want to say I'm not against it because I did enjoy it.
Captain Ron, you had a bunch of comments, so tell me what you think.
Well, one thing we haven't even touched on is the fact that a lot of these younger anglers made it to the Elite Series their very first time fishing the Opens.
Amen.
That doesn't really happen. That doesn't happen. It's never happened in history. There's been a guy or two, Jacob Wheeler, KVD, that have come in real early, Joe Lee, come in real early and been super successful, but like one. And they were already superstars. We knew they were coming, kind of like Trey McKinney. We knew they were coming already, but not like all of them.
Craig says that all the time about how many phenoms we have now.
Yeah, and I mean to show up and dominate, and to say that it's not forward-facing sonar is just it's negligent. I mean, there's no group of anglers have ever done that. Rookies don't do that in any other sport. You see the rookies come into football and they just dominate the first 2 seasons, or in baseball or in any other sport. So to think that's normal for our sport, it just doesn't make any sense.
Ron, you're right. It's not. And then when you sit back and you say, because the truth of the matter is, when a lot of these guys come in, you could still get information in the opens at certain times.
Right.
Let's not beat around the bush. Not only could you get that information, but then you had to box on top of that. And that's when we seen the biggest group of young phenoms come in, and they're beating guys that have been on the Elite Series before, MLF guys, like pros who get to be on the water just as much as they do. You can't tell me that you can sit and look at these guys and go, he's 19 years old. He's been on the water every day since he was 17-year-old. That MLF guy's been on the water every day for the past 25 years.
Sure.
You know, right.
I do think that with the culture, we're starting to see kind of the effects of high school and college fishing. But even at that point, you're not going to see the domination without forward-facing. And look, I love forward-facing sonar. I make a living off of it, but it's naive to think that it doesn't play a role in these younger anglers' success. I mean, it's just – and look, man, I'm friends with a lot – just like you guys are, I'm friends with a lot of – Milliken's a really good friend of mine. I think Milliken has the ability to make it without it, but I don't know that. He didn't make it without it. He made it with it. Same for a lot of the younger anglers, and I talked to Slick earlier today, and I think for a lot of those guys, rather than being on social media saying, hey, this is a black eye for the sport, man, take it as a great opportunity to shut the haters up. Take it as an opportunity to prove yourself. Hey, drop your nuts out and show them. Show the whole damn world what you got.
Well, not only that, there's a lot of stuff that goes on in this sport outside of the elites that you have people chiming in and going, it ain't Livescope, it ain't Livescope. With all due respect, them old boys that catch them huge bags in Texas and Oklahoma and wherever that do them guide trips, with all due respect, you guys are awesome. It wouldn't happen without Livescope.
No.
You wouldn't be out there. Half of them wouldn't have a YouTube channel. They wouldn't have a guide service.
That's correct.
But then at the end of the day, they'll tell you, well, I can do it without Livescope. Would you ever have done it without that box? Because there's people.
Well, speaking of that, Captain Ron, you guide at Lake Fork.
Mm-hmm.
So Craig brought up a good point about Livescoping out in Texas. What's the differences now, say, versus 4 years ago with you guiding at Lake Fork? And has it brought more guides to Lake Fork because of that?
Not necessarily Lake Fork. You've got 2 or 3 really, really forward-facing sonar dominant guides on Lake Fork, but they're also tournament anglers. Jack York, Pake South. Those guys are, to be honest with you, those guys are unbelievable with or without it. But it's not as dominant where I'm at. Now, you go out to West Texas with Brandon Burks and Josh Jones and those guys, completely different ball game. Now, I'm not knocking those guys because Josh and Brandon are all great guys, great anglers, but they are who they are now because of forward-facing sonar. Kyle Hall's a little different. He's a top tournament angler in Texas, but man, Ivy, you're not catching those fish like they are. They're not naive to it, and they're not claiming to be able to do it without it either, But you're not catching those fish on those lakes without forward-facing sonar. They're floaters, dude. You don't even know they're there.
Yeah.
Look, we didn't know they were there. Bro, it ain't like all of a sudden forward-facing sonar came about and so did 15-pounders. They've been there the whole time. It's just
those guys now are able to legitimately have a sales pitch telling people, come take a guide trip, you will catch a 10-plus pounder.
100%.
That's what they do.
Yes,
Yeah.
but without Livescope, you could have never done that. You could say, hey, come catch big fish, come catch numbers. You've always been not, hey, I can pinpoint a fish and agitate it till it bites. And that's what we're going to do today, so you can catch a 10-pounder.
Man,
That's stuff that you couldn't do.
you know, dude, one thing that and I don't get heated over the live scope debate a lot, but one thing that does bother me, that what if you just don't want to do it? The biggest deal is you see, if they're live scope haters, the comments on social media are either A, they suck at it, or B, they can't afford it. Well, what if you don't suck at it? And what if you could buy an entire electronics store, but you don't enjoy it? I mean, what about that? Like, take Lee Livesey, for instance. Now, I'm not speaking for Lee. This is my thoughts on Lee Livesey. Lee Livesey can live scope. Lee Livesey can fish. I don't think that Lee Livesey wants to stop doing what he's done his entire life to get there because of a new technology. And the problem with having it available at all 9 tournaments is you force all 100 anglers to spend 4 days or 3 days of practice deciding whether or not they got to stare at a screen for 4 days or whether they got to go fish. And when you got the rookie side of things, those guys only have one mindset. And I say rookie, the 2 and 3, the sophomore class and the rookie class. They've only got one mindset: stare at the screen. Now, again, not taken away from those guys, because I promise you Ben Milliken can fish. He was an unbelievable tournament angler. So was Trey. So were a lot of those guys before forward-facing sonar ever came out. But their decision's made up before practice ever starts. And that's why I think Bass making the decision to limit it in practice as well as the tournament is a great thing. You're challenging the angler to find fish without forward-facing sonar. And here's another thing. I would be willing to spend, I bet I spend more time on the water than almost anybody alive. To think that it's not the single most impactful tool in the history of fishing is naive. It's just ludicrous. Even in practice, I mean, I saw guys at Lake Fork. I watched this with my own 2 eyes. Throw the trolling motor down at the boat ramp, take off down the bank, and make a top 10 2 years ago. I watched it, man. People can say, oh, it's not possible. They had to do this. With my own 2 eyes, I know the lake. I know what they did. They have the ability to go watch previous social media, previous tournaments, and go out there and throw the scope down and see fish that otherwise they would never know were there. And I tell you something else. I do those electronics trips, and this year I had a run of college anglers. I mean, an absolute haul of Division I collegiate anglers hire me for electronics trips to learn down scan and, more importantly, side scan that they did not understand. And here's the difference between a 40-year-old angler and a 19-year-old angler. I take a 40-year-old angler out there and I teach them side scan. They go out there and they drag a worm, throw a crankbait. I teach it to a 20-year-old angler. He goes out there, throws a scope down, and 30 minutes later sends me 2 9-pounders with live scope. So it's just, and the difference is those 40-year-old guys, they're not scoping those fish. They're going out there spot locking and dragging their worm. And so, you know, I think forcing the guys to use it is something that, dude, they were there first. Bass probably should have limited it in the beginning. They didn't understand what was going to happen. You know, a lot of guys go, well, it's not that Bass added this or that. It came about and they had it. They didn't understand the consequence, and now they're limiting it. I don't, you know, I don't want to sit here and say I applaud Bass, and then, you know, a lot of people get on me for it. But, man,
what's the answer now, though, when a lot of these guys were allowed to use it and they qualified using it, and now we're going to take it away? But I'm going to tell you a question that got presented to me by a scoper today. He said they're just mad because they can't catch them with scope. And I go, and you're mad because you can't catch them without it? Because it goes both ways. And I'm not saying anybody can't catch them without it. I'm just saying the argument goes both ways. The younger generation and the scopers are saying, well, y'all are mad. Y'all should go learn it. Okay, well, maybe y'all should go learn to fish without it.
Here's one of my biggest problems with it, and it goes to that, and it goes back to Captain Ron's point. One, I don't want to hear they qualified with it, because there's 3 to 23 years worth of guys on that Elite Series that did not qualify with it. They qualified every other way, and now their sport that they have been a part of for 3 to 23 years is being completely changed. And it's been changed for the past 3, but they've went with it. They've done what they needed to. They stuck around, and they've seen that something's not working, to the point of Livescope has taken over. It's not the fact that those other guys can't catch them with Livescope. And that's one of the biggest misconceptions is these guys think, or regular people think, that your guys like Swindle, because he's old school, he can't catch them with Livescope. That's false. He's one, like Captain Ron said, he don't want to do it. And I'm reminded, Slick, you know these tournaments just as well as I do. The Forest Wood Cup that John Cox won is one of the best to go off of. And then there was an Elite Series out of Ditto, too. You had guys in the backs of creeks throwing a frog, competing for a win in a major series event. Then you had guys down on the other end of the river throwing Carolina rigs off a point down there by Poplar Creek that were also competing for a win. Then you had guys throwing crankbaits on the ledge. Used to be you could use a different technique. You weren't handcuffed to one technique to win a tournament. But there are some lakes in this country that it is becoming, you don't have a choice to go try to see if you can win it throwing a frog or throwing a Carolina rig. You have to put the trolling motor down and stare at the box in order to have a chance to win. That's the biggest thing that Livescope changed. It didn't just take away certain things.
Let me be devil's advocate for a minute, because I want to tell both sides of it. But let's say at Gunnersville, before Livescope, in the fall, you had to know how to flip or you weren't going to win. Now, you could go do other things, but if you couldn't, you couldn't win. So, I mean, if I'm a scoper, that's what I would say is, you know, there's other techniques that dominate different times of the year. If you go to, for instance, Lake Fork at a particular time of the year, bed fishing would dominate.
It does. You could use Livescope with it now.
I know. I was hoping nobody bring that up.
But the problem is bed fishing dominated because they could see them. Those fish were still there. You could still catch them on a chatterbait outside of the grass.
Yeah,
you know, all that kind of stuff. You could still catch them.
I don't necessarily agree with you on that one, Slick. Just to be honest with you,
I
don't think that there's. Yeah, I think in the top 10, very seldom throughout history are all 10 guys doing the same thing. Whereas now, the top 50 have to shake a minnow at times.
I agree with that. I mean, if you go to certain lakes, and Gunnersville's one of them, look, I'm saying that to try to give both sides.
I get what you're saying. I understand.
But like today, Lake was sick, so I had to go to Gunnersville and practice. And man, I wanted to go throw a frog. I wanted to go flip. I wanted to do all kind of things. But I know Saturday we will be scoping to try to win. So I had to go scope. I have to. I don't like it. That's not what I wanted to do. And it's the same way with a lot of these elite guys now. They're forced to have to go do it because that technique does dominate at certain times of the year. I don't care where you go, and don't get me wrong, there's a couple places that you could, but I'm saying 98% of the lakes in the country, if you go during January, February, or March, they will be one scoping now because we, just like you said a while ago, we didn't know there were floaters. We didn't understand it. And I'll give you an example at Chickamauga this year. In Lake, I asked Lake, I was like, the fish you're catching, what do you think they're doing? Because I've always told him there's a reason for every fish you catch. You don't catch a fish by accident. If a fish, know what that fish was there for, and you can duplicate that elsewhere on the lake. And so he's catching these fish outside these pockets, right outside the pockets, and they're only 2 foot under the surface. You know, they're warming their backs. It's late February, early March. And he said, Daddy, I think that they're sitting out here. The water hadn't come up, and I think they're waiting to go in. And he said, back in the day, y'all would be coming and fishing that pocket, waiting for them to pull up, and you might catch 2 or 3 or 4 out of that pocket, but it had to be a timing thing, and it had to be when they pulled up. He said, we're scoping, and there's hundreds of them sitting out here waiting. And see, we never knew that. We would go hit that pocket hoping that the water warmed up that day or they were in there on bed or whatever it may be, and now they're just sitting out there floating, just chilling.
and it's like I told you today. Here's my only problem with this about what it's going to be one on and all that. And I want to say this in front of everybody now. There was another technique, and you can say it's only partial of the year. That's fine. I'll let you rock with that because it just helps my theory. If you want to use Gunnersville as an example, if you went to Gunnersville from January to March or June, you knew it was going to be one on an A-rig at a bridge. And the minute they figured that out, that was such an overwhelming technique that took over the sport. The minute they figured out, hey, there is a quarter of the year that nothing is winning except for an A-rig at the bridge on places like Gunnersville, they banned it. They didn't say half the tournaments could have it and half of them couldn't. They didn't say you could do this over here or do this over there. When something was so dominant that you could not understand why the consistency of people was happening, they took it out of the sport completely.
Is that why they banned it, or was it because almost every state has a different regulation on it? So my thought was when they banned Alabama rigs, it was because every single state has a different rule on how many hooks you can fish with.
Well,
not because it was a dominant.
The angler.
Cool. I mean, I could be wrong. That was just my understanding.
Yeah, on the FLW side, the anglers complained about it because there was guys that were winning that had never won before, that had never caught them before, and they felt like that it took the thought process out of fishing. Like Craig's saying, you go throw an A-rig at riprap or at a bridge, and so that was part of it. Part of it was the regulations, like Tennessee, I think, only allowed 3 hooks, or certain states only allowed 3 hooks. And
wasn't none of it the regulation, Ron, because you can still use it in BFLs, Toyota Series, and all that other shit.
You can, but some states do regulate the amount of hooks.
Yes, absolutely. But now they've took it as far as to put the little screw locks on there, so you can still throw your 5-bait A-rig, and you can still throw it in the bigger tournaments. You just can't throw it at the top level because it's too damn easy to catch fish. At the end of the day, that's what it boiled down to. And it makes a guy that ain't good great.
But Craig, we've let Livescope, and I think Captain Ron said it earlier, we let it go too far before we realized the effect it was having.
Y'all did. I've been screaming it. I've never said ban it. Never once said ban it. Slick, let me tell you something, Ron. A lot of people don't know this. What was it, 3 years ago, Alan? 3 years ago, Alan had an extra Livescope unit. I am a very self-aware person. He said, do you want to put this on your boat? I said, hell yeah. Let's hook it up tonight. He couldn't get to the shop fast enough. We couldn't get it hooked up fast enough. I'm out there. I go out. I'm throwing a rattle trap in January. And everybody at the time was like, man, you can't use this shallow. It don't work shallow. You got to be on somewhere like Smith Lake, but you can use it on some deeper stuff or to see certain stuff to cast at. Well, I didn't have it on my boat, what, Alan, 2 weeks? Maybe 2 weeks. I'm out there in a ditch, casting up into some grass, fan casting with a rattle trap. And I started noticing that those fish would fan out of the grass after bait, and those would be the active fish. And all you had to do, you could have just spanned around with the Livescope, find an active fish, cast a rattle trap at it. That's all you had to do, and you started catching them. I got on the phone first thing because, one, I'm big-headed. I called Alan. I said, you told me I couldn't use it shallow. I got it in 4 foot of water. He said, what do you mean? And I told him about that. And then that's when I truly seen how much better it made me. I knew I sucked at what I was doing at the time because I wouldn't catch a lot of fish. And we put it on my boat, started catching more fish. My average went up. And that's when I said, hey, man, I've seen this myself. It wasn't just that I didn't have Livescope and I was sitting back there butt hurt, not wanting everybody else to have it. And that's what a lot of people can't seem to do is get out of their feelings one way or the other. If you don't have it, try it first.
I think it's a fact, and I'm not talking about the minnow shaking. I'm talking about nobody can deny that it helps you to see how far that stump is or where that drop-off is or where the grass is. that helps you with Livescope. And now with a 34 transducer and even better on a 62, you can find hard spots. Like at Sam Rayburn, when I was with JT Tompkins, he had it on 120 feet with the 62, and we could find hard spots in 4 and 5 foot of water. It was incredible. So yes, Livescope helps you all around. It's increased the average, I think, in all tournaments for everybody, but there are a small percentage of people have learned to completely dominate with it, and they've gotten to be experts. I mean, I've had this argument with Boyd Duckett about, I wanted, when it come down to deciding about, not that I decide MLF, I'm not trying to say that, but we had the conversation about, hey, what do you think the limit should be on Livescope? And we're gonna limit it in MLF tournaments. And I said 50%. And he said, I think we're gonna go a third of the time. And I said, no, you're basing that off what Drew Gill does. You're basing it off Drew Gill's ability, and the guys at the BFL level are not the same as Drew Gill. But right at the end, they decided to do a third of the time. Now, I don't think that guys at the BFL level are going to be able to dominate. Livescope's not going to dominate at the BFL level now, because you don't have the same caliber of fishermen that you do at the Bass Pro Tour level, or even the invitationals. And look, the Toyota Series is about like the Bass Pro Tour halftime, because a lot of those guys come and fish them. But I think it should have been a half the time at the BFL level. But we have a tendency to look at the Easton Fothergills, the Drew Gills, and the Trey McKinneys, and the guys that are just the top in the world with it, and we think that it's easy for everybody, and it's just not. It's not. Does it make it better? Well, hell yeah, but it's not easy.
It's not easy. So one thing I will say is the reason I don't enjoy it as much as regular fishing, because it's a lot more focus, man. Number one, you got to put a lot of time into it. And then number two, it takes the same amount of focus as like a heart surgeon. So people ask why I don't full-time guide scope. Well, you can't pay me enough. Josh Jones, $2,500. I don't blame him. You're going to have to pay me that much to sit there and focus on scope for 8 to 10 hours? Dude, that's what it takes to do brain surgery. Not to mention the amount of time it takes to be able to do it. It's a specialty skill. I'm trying to go fishing, hang out with the homies, maybe drink a cold beer, and throw a frog. I have no desire to sit there and stare at a screen all day, and I know that's why a lot of the anglers don't want to do it. They don't want to be forced to do it all day. As far as it being easier and the fish bite better, no, of course it's not easier than regular fishing. It takes a lot more focus and effort than just regular fishing. But I'm not trying to just focus on a screen all day. That's the other thing. Two things I can tell you about a scoper: if their head comes up and their foot goes off the pedal, they're not a scoper. That's a fact. That is a fact.
Yeah.
Well, hey, I appreciate you having me on. I got to run. Dinner just finished.
All right.
All right. Thanks, bud.
Yes, sir. Now, I talked to an Elite Series angler today, and it was on speakerphone, and his wife got on there, and she talked about how she didn't want to go fishing with him anymore, because used to she was fishing and she felt like she had a chance to catch one, and now she doesn't. Let me invite Wiggins in here and see how I get Ron. How do I take Ron out, Craig?
He's got to leave. He's got to exit the live instead of just talking.
I got him. I've got the Livescope king coming in right now. I'm talking about the guru of all things Livescope, Jesse Wiggins.
You're right. You're very right. I watched Drew Gill for about 2 hours one morning, so I'm pretty much a professional.
Oh.
If y'all haven't noticed, I probably still ain't over that ass whipping I got.
If y'all haven't seen Jesse's video about Drew Gill that day, you need to go watch it, because when I talked to Jesse on the phone after that tournament, and he said, the dude was casting in my prop wash and catching them.
I swear to God, it seemed like it. I mean, it was crazy. I may lose service, but if not, anyways, I'm about to be home. But yeah, it was nuts for sure. He's like I said in that video, I was just amazed by watching him do that I would be as watching Greg Hackney flip down the bank or flip grass or Kevin Van Dam through a crankbait. It was nuts. God,
So,
it was nuts.
Wiggins, I want to ask you this question: with the Bassmaster going to half the time, half the tournaments with, half without, would you rather it be like that, or would you rather be able to use it some every day? What would be your preference if you had to say, this is what I would like as an angler? What would you rather do?
As just an angler, I would probably rather do it half the schedule with, half the schedule without. And if you know ahead of time, it even goes into your pre-practice. It goes into, your map study and all that before. Like, that way you know whether or not you're going to be using it or not. Like, you don't have to worry about using it in practice. Like, I see a lot of I want to get this in there here. I see a lot of comments that says, let them use it in practice. That don't mean nothing. Like, it's useless if you can't use it in the tournament. So when I see that, it makes me realize that people have no idea what they're talking about when it comes to forward-facing sonar. If they're saying let them use it in practice, that they have no clue what they're talking about if they think that's a compromise. Anyways, but yeah, I feel like it's an angle. If I would like knowing that, hey, we're going to Gunnersville and we're not using it. So you don't have to worry about getting out in the middle. You don't have to worry about any of that. You just fish, grab.
Jesse's going through Winston County.
Where?
I was saying, I don't know where he is.
Garrett, that's a place you need to visit right there. Jesse Wiggins' neck of the woods.
Hell yeah.
It's a good time down there. Jesse made a valid point, and I'm going to piggyback off of it. All these people that are like, use it in practice. Tell us why. Why do you think it would help to use it in practice? You think they're finding schools of fish to fan cast at with Livescope? That's crazy.
Well, and I don't. Did Bassmaster say?
Am I back in now?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Yeah, can you hear us, Jesse?
Yeah, I got you now. Yeah, I don't know where I got cut off at, but
Joe Lee told me that Joe Lee's wanting in here. He's wanting me to see if he echoes now. I'm gonna invite him again. We had Joe Lee in here earlier, and he kept echoing.
At Free State's hell on phone service.
I got 5 bars, so I should be good.
Here we go.
No, I'm actually
Echo.
Joe Lee, it's again. You're gonna have to log in on Kristen's phone. Poor Joe Lee. He's the only one that echoes.
Jesse, all jokes aside, like, you use this every day of your life. You have had to sustain a career through the changes. Okay, like, there's a lot of guys that either fished their Tuesday nighters and didn't really understand what the other guys were doing. You have had to sustain I pay my lights with this career going through the changes. How much do people not understand what they're actually giving up through just the 4 tournaments?
Hold on, what are you talking about? 4 tournaments. Oh, you talking about as far as Livescope?
Yes.
Not using it?
Yes.
It's going to be, I mean, I'll be honest, the guys that have used it since college, that's all they've known, even in high school, like the last guys, it's going to take them a couple years to get adjusted. But I'm telling you, they're phenomenal fishermen. You don't just become a live scoper just because you can look at a screen. You still have to know how to fish. Like, a lot of people don't really understand that. But it's not going to be a guarantee like it is with scope. It's just not. Like, fish move on the bank. I mean, they move to the middle. That's why scope is so dominant, because that's where the fish want to be. They don't want to be on the bank. They're only on the bank or on a point or on a hard spot to feed most of the time. They don't live there. They live in the middle, so it's more consistent. So they're gonna have to learn feeding windows, and I mean I'm still learning it too. I ain't saying that I know all this, but it's just stuff you have to run into. It's just not as consistent. Every day there's always going to be some in the middle. I mean, we know that now. Well, they're not on this same point every single day. There's some magic points, obviously, but you know what I mean. So you're just not going to be able to be as consistent. But I mean, half the season with it, half without, dude, you're going to have I feel like there's no other way to keep it more even, more fair. Like, these guys deserve to get to use it because they qualified using it. Like, I don't think.
Let me ask you this, Jesse. You've been with it, been without it. I was talking to Slick.
Yeah, it's
my bad. I was talking to Slick about this.
Go ahead.
How many people do you think nowadays, since Livescope has been about and it's such a player in today's fishing, how many people do you think stopped fishing where they're going? That used to be the whole thing. I want to fish where they're going.
Yes.
How many people do you think stopped doing that?
Yeah, I mean, everybody that's winning, I mean, you fish
They
where
just
they're
go.
at.
They just go to where they are.
Yeah, I mean, you just fish where they're at. You don't have to worry about them showing up. The only way you fish where they're going is what I'm talking about, going to where they feed, like where they're going to be feeding at, where you can rely on a spot that's going to produce 3 or 4 keepers a day or something.
I've told Wiggins this story, and I'll tell you a story that Lake told me at Pickwick this year during the winter. They were only pulling about 30,000. Wind was blowing crazy out of the north, so he ran straight across to these bluffs in this tournament. He catches 21 pounds in 21 minutes. And we're far enough away from the bluff, I can't reach it. And so I asked him, I'm like, how did you know they were here? And he said, I just did what you've always told me. You've always said to go to the transitions, to the bank transitions. And he said, so I go to wherever the bank transitions are, and I go out in front, out in the open water, and I just go up and down, and that's where they're sitting. I said, okay, that's great, but they're only pulling 28,000 a day. I said, what are you going to do if they're pulling 100,000? He said, normally, y'all catch them when they're up there feeding. And he said, if they're pulling 100,000, then the old people like you will catch them because they'll be up there feeding. He said, but y'all got to catch them when it's perfect timing, when they're up there eating, and the current's got to be right. He said, we're out here catching them where they live. And y'all are just trying to catch them where you feed, which is exactly what you just said. I mean, it made all the sense in the world when he explained it like that, And it goes to what you're saying, Craig. They're not fishing where the fish are going to. They're going where they are.
But that was my question with them going to this format. There's going to be 4 tournaments out of the year where they have to completely shift not only their technique, but their complete thought process of I'm going to go where they are right now. They're going to have to be fishing like Jesse was when he qualified of I got to be where they're going. I might not get bit this morning, but I know they're going to be here at 9 o'clock. These fish show up at 9 o'clock. And you got to trust that because where nowadays, and if I'm wrong, by all means, y'all correct me. However, nowadays, you can get a close enough waypoint, find a fish, and you can trust that waypoint. I'm not saying you can get it from somebody else. You can go find a waypoint, and you can trust that waypoint with scope because you can move around, kind of figure it out. You may not be able to trust a waypoint at all come the second day of the tournament. Then you got to refigure everything out instead of just going and finding a few on the screen. And I'm not knocking people by saying that. Like, it's a completely different mindset change to all. Do what?
Exactly what you're saying is why the same guys are still fishing the Elite Series that started in 2006. They are the absolute best at what you just said. That putting it together every day. I'm talking about without Livescope. Yes. Like Hackney, Gerald, even the guys in our tour, Ayler, all them, Lucas. Like, they are the best at pulling up to their spot on the second day, not catching shit, and be like, oh yeah, I was expecting this, and just moving on to something else and figuring it out. So that's why I was saying it's going to take those guys that grew up scope only. It's going to take them a few years. But like I said, they're going to learn because they're students of the game. Like, they're going to learn quick. Absolutely. But like I said, it's just not going to be consistent. And you're going to see. I mean, you'll see in the results. It's going to, like, as far as a viewer, I can't wait to watch it. It's going to be interesting. The only thing it does suck is, like, they're going to go to some lakes where scoping is really fun, or probably, I don't know exactly the schedule, but, like, it's going to do, it's going to do the fishery a disservice not letting them use Livescope, I feel like, because, locals can go use it and catch, 30 pounds or whatever, and they're going to be not being able to do that. So that's kind of the only part that sucks about it, but it's going to be way more fun to watch as far as, a viewer standpoint. I say not fun to watch, but more interesting, I should say. It may not be fun because they're not going to be catching as many, but it's going to be interesting to see how those new guys catch on, how quick they can catch on. That's what I'm thinking. Just about by me looking at it.
JT, you brought up a good point a while ago, and then Sixbait said the same thing. So tell what you said a while ago about the coin flip.
I just said the way that they're doing this now with the coin flip. I mean, literally, Angler of the Year and Rookie of the Year can be decided by a coin flip. It can change like that. You take whether you can use it or can't use it. I mean, the race this year was unbelievable. I mean, that last event was phenomenal to watch. It was up and down, and Shakira back up and Trey down. But I mean, now it could be literally coin flip. We can use it last event. Somebody could be whatever, seventh or eighth in the points. Maybe jack up and win. I mean, it literally came with a flip of a coin. I didn't understand that part of it.
Boys, I ain't flipping that coin. Don't worry. They ain't flipping that coin.
Greg's still saying it's a conspiracy.
Mark my words right now, and this is one of the lakes that Jesse was talking about, just to prove a point. Lake Murray will not be a no live scope lake on that tour. It won't happen.
Lake Murray would still be good without.
Yeah, you don't have to have it at Murray. Gunnersville, the only one I can think that they would be doing it a disservice by not letting them scope. Don't they go there in February?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the weights will still be really good, but y'all know what it is with live scope. I mean, it's way better.
So hey, Red Crest, y'all are coming right here to Table Rock, and it's going to be Scope Fest.
I can't wait to see what most people would consider the mini failures. Like Jesse was saying, pulling up on the second day, you don't catch a fish. And like that was, I think, what a lot of the older guys were fighting for to get the sport back, was knowing when to leave, knowing when to go, knowing where to go to where the fish are coming to you. And also the little mini things in between them of, I've been here 15 minutes. I already know that this ain't no good. Whereas the normal guy, your regular everyday fisherman, would spend half a day sitting there before he went, shit, they ain't here.
Yep.
And that is what myself and I think a lot of folks out there that haven't always had live scope have missed in the sport, is the guys that are really good that can do both. Your Brandon Polnick's of, they know where they're going. They know where they're at today. They just know better than to fish for them right there. They know where they're going. They're going to let them come to them.
Let me ask y'all this. Somebody brought up the Johnstons. Has anybody ever won 3 AOYs in a row?
Yeah, Kevin won 4 in a row.
I was about to say, I did not know that Kevin won that many in a row.
And didn't
Whaler
Martin?
Whaler's on his 3rd in a row. Whaler just won his 3rd.
Third, yeah, because Becker had that one in between Wheeler.
Should have been 5.
Whaler's only won 2 in a row.
Yeah, should have been 4.
Becker won in 23, but he should have had 4 in a row.
Yeah, because he's 4 out of the last 5 years.
Yeah,
right?
So he should have had 5 in a row, obviously.
Yeah,
that's insane.
Get somebody in the MLF to give that dude some competition? MLF dudes.
Trust me. Wow, they're trying. They change the rules every year trying to get him not to win it, but he still wins it.
It's like they've been the rules. It seems like the rules benefit him every time they change. It doesn't matter what you do.
Well, hey,
Exactly.
let me say this.
They try to change boundaries. They try to do everything, but it don't matter. He just keeps freaking winning.
And
He's freaking good.
it's like they're down in Africa right now, so I can't wait to see. Wheeler comes in and wins Africa. It'll be just like, really?
He will.
I know.
I mean, would y'all bet against him? I mean,
No.
honestly, would y'all bet against him right
Absolutely
now? I
not.
wouldn't. I mean, I wouldn't.
Let me say this too. You won't catch me saying this too often. Jesse, be proud of this. Slick probably will too. I would rather see 100 Jacob Wheelers than the 20 new guys that we got on the Elite Series. I
want 100 Gerald Swindles.
My point is though, like,
can we throw in? Can we, if we're gonna have 100 Gerald Swindles, can we throw in 2 James Watsons?
Yeah, and a Matt Robertson.
My thing is though, like, I've been open. Like, I'm not a huge Wheeler fan. I respect what he's done. Okay, but Wheeler and Connell are 2 of those guys that were good enough with scope to compete with the new guys, but they were also old enough to have to learn everything that everybody else learned. Wiggins is one of them guys. Like, they've been around for both, and they're really good at both because they've taken the time to get to do it. And I think that bridge right there of those type guys is what is going to close it in for the Elite Series. Your Polonix, for example, I mentioned him earlier. Like, that is kind of that middle ground of, I would rather see 100 of those guys than 100 guys that don't scope and 100 guys that only scope. And I think there's going to come a time where it kind of phases out, but we also want to keep it to where they have to know both ways. Like, we're not doing anything in the Elite Series to force it to be that way. And this is the move that we finally will see. We need more Dustin Connells and Jacob Wheelers and Jesse Wiggins and Brandon Polonix than we do the extreme over here, the extreme over there.
I agree with that. This is definitely going to create that for sure.
So, somebody, Aiden asked, do you think they will ban live scope in college and high school tournaments? So MLF has already banned it in high school. They did that this past year. And Boyd's reasoning for that was that he wanted people to learn, he wanted the young anglers to learn how to catch them without having to use scope. And they've already limited it in college this coming year. It'll be limited to 3 hours with MLF. I think they've already announced that. So it'll be limited to 3 hours in high school, BFLs, Toyota Series, Invitationals, and then a third of the time in the Bass Pro Tour. I don't think, this is just my opinion, I don't think Bassmaster is going to do anything below the Elite Series level. And I also believe that they'll probably change it back next year. That's just my opinion.
This cat said Tucker will still catch them without live scope. None of us in here or anywhere are saying these guys won't catch fish.
Yeah, I mean, so will Easton, but
okay, but the chances of them consistently being in the top 10 drastically change.
Everybody's does.
Okay, there's another thing we're not thinking about. If you go watch the MPFL, and I had this discussion with Swindle. Swindle had 20 pounds a day at the St. Lawrence when it was no live scope. And he told me himself he would have never found those fish had he been able to use live scope, because he would have been doing something totally different. He never would have been doing that. He never would have spent that time to go find those fish because he would have felt like he had to be live scoping, and that's what he would have been out doing. So once you don't have a choice and you have to go find them without live scope, then you're going to see these young anglers go catch them without live scope. And there is going to be a transition time. Like Jesse said, it's going to take them some time. They're not used to doing it. I mean, the other day I told the story about Lake went over to Gunnersville and took his live scope off. And when I went to pick him up, he got out of the boat and was laughing. And I said, "What's wrong?" He goes, "I forgot how much thought you had to put into it when you don't have live scope."
Yep.
So
Well, it's like Jesse talking
decisions.
about Drew. I've fished and filmed Drew several times now, and it's just like one of the things I told him the other day on the phone was just like, "Hey, dude, all winter long, I wouldn't even turn on my live scope. You're already dominating one period with it. You
That
better
is
go
true.
out and learn how to sit." And the same way with people that are using scope. I mean, we're all at fault. All of us are fishermen. If we go out and for 3 hours we don't catch shit, we're going to go do something where we know we can catch fish. We're not going to work on our weaknesses. We can't do it. We're men. We got to catch fish. I can't go out and just freaking spend 8 hours not catching nothing. So you're going to always go to your backup, whether it's throwing a shaky head in the brush pile or frogging underneath of a dock or using your live scope. That's the hardest thing to do, is to make yourself go practice, practice, practice your weakness. And that's what has to happen this off season for a lot of anglers.
So let me ask y'all a question. Somebody just mentioned that Kyle Welcher will be a problem next year, and I agree. Probably the biggest problem. Who do y'all think is going to benefit the most by them doing half and half? Obviously, Joe Lee's going to benefit. Kyle Welcher's going to benefit. Who do you think that's going to help their career the most by going half and half?
Jordan Lee, Kyle Welcher, Brandon Polinick. Like, none of them need help, but I'm just going to let you know, like, guys like that. Those bridge guys.
Somebody said Trey Taylor.
Those bridge guys.
If they go to the St. Lawrence without scope, I mean, that's 100,000 in one of the Johnston's pockets.
That's a Johnston
guarantee.
And that goes back to what JT said. If the coin flip is no scope at St. Lawrence and the points race is tight, I mean, you got to pick a Johnston.
100%. Both of them.
Yeah.
You better have both of them in your fantasy fishing if you're going up there without it.
Yeah, all jokes aside, though, like, this is the most benefit is going to go to those bridge guys. Seth Fider. guys in that bridge area that can already do both. Maybe they can't scope as good as Drew Gill. Understandable. They still scope good enough to get a top 20. But then they can do everything else just as good as everybody else.
So what we're saying is the most well-rounded anglers will benefit
this
next year. I mean, that's what we're saying, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I would say if you look at that,
go ahead.
That rookie-ish class of year, 2 year, sophomore year, Tyler Williams. I mean, he's using forward-facing sonar, but that kid's going to find brush with his side scan. He's going to find everything. He's going to continue to throw a flapping hog on a jig 95% of the time.
Yeah. In 2 or 3 years, they're going to be so caught up. I mean, like I said, it's just going to take a little time. I mean, that's why before Livescope, the guys' prime, was high 20s, mid 30s. They usually got into it. They started mid 20s, and so 4 or 5 years, they was in their 30s. That was always the prime. So it took them 4 or 5 years to get the feel of the fish not being there on day 2. Like, it just takes something you got to get used to. The fish on the bank.
So let me ask y'all this. With that being said, you're going to have 9 rookies coming in, okay? And more than likely, they're going to be predominantly scopers, right?
Yep.
But now in the Elite Series, you really only have 2 guaranteed years. So think about those guys. You're sitting here saying, it's going to take them time. Think about those guys. They don't have time.
That's what I'm saying. That's why the guys that are on the elites, the old guys, are the ones that's why they're still there, is because they was the best at figuring it out on day 2. Well, I mean, you know that, but I mean, I'm just saying that's like not many rookies stayed around long ever. I mean, the last 5 or 6 years they have because of Livescope, but like you go back and look at a lot of the results, there wasn't many rookies making it past the second year.
Absolutely.
And that's only changed in the last few years. That's why you got so many names. The elite stayed the same for so long because it was the best guys. I mean, that's just how it is.
And at the end of the day, that's what we should be striving for. Not we got to give everybody more time because they made it. Look here, running backs get 4 years in the NFL. They don't sit and say we need to find a way to get them 10.
Yeah. No, 2 years is fair. All you got to do is finish in the top 70. 2 years, that's plenty. That's plenty of time, in my opinion, because the sport's not big enough to let them hang around more.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's
Well, and
just not big enough.
your sponsorship dollars are drying up. If you're not in that cut and relevant to stay enough in there, you're not going to be able to
Yeah,
pay for it and afford it anyway. And that's the reason they changed all them rules a couple of years ago, because they're finding out that just because you won one open and qualified, which I'm not going down that debate. That's a rabbit hole we'll go down. But if you won an open, you qualified for the classic or the elites. Whatever. It's just like, but people, they couldn't afford it. They didn't understand how to get sponsors and how to understand that fishing is only 1/3 of the business. 2/3 of it's your social media and your sponsorships. I mean, it's just it's a business, and you got to run it like that. And it's hard to afford to be able to do that and still concentrate on catching fish.
I'm gonna say this.
Bassmaster did a good job. If you really think about it, these EQs are going to be Wheeler, Okeechobee, and Champlain. So 2 of the 3, Wheeler's really not a scoping lake. Okeechobee has been one scoping a couple of times, but it's really not a scoping lake. So we may not get 9 scopers this time. I mean, we really may not. And JT, I know you asked about Milliken earlier. There's 2 people that have said they're not coming back to the elites.
Yep, I knew that, and I forgot about it.
And so if that happens, I mean, he should be back in. I don't know if he'll want to come back, but I said this today, in my opinion, and y'all may disagree with me. Milliken is more valuable to Bassmaster than Bassmaster is to Milliken. And I also felt like, and Captain Ron said this today, he said, as valuable as Milliken was when he came to Bassmaster, hell, they should have paid his entry fees. Because that guy
got kicked out. I was wanting Boyd to call his ass, telling him to bring him over to our tour. I 100% agree with that.
100%. I mean,
100% agree.
He gets just as many views by himself as Bassmaster does.
Absolutely. That's why if he left Bass, I'd tell Boyd to fucking throw the book at him.
But we talk about numbers all the time, and I sent a thing to JT earlier about G Money. Bassmaster had posted a thing about Easton when he won the Classic. It had a little under 10,000 likes in 3 months. G Money posted one a couple of days ago, and it had 15,000 likes.
Yep.
Okay. If Ben Milliken posted one a couple of days ago, it's going to have 15,000. And so that's what I'm saying. There's these guys have such a following that they are so valuable to the organization.
Well, let me add this in too. A lot of these guys that you've seen come in the past couple years ain't got social media.
Yeah.
My fat ass has got more social media following than they do. And I'm just showing baits off in the yard.
That's because you're OnlyFans.
You're also talking about wieners sometimes too, Craig.
I'm talking about on my fishing channel. Like, you have guys that Jesse talked about earlier, the guys that you've seen since 2006. Does Hackney have a huge social media following nowadays? Not that big, but for years, Hackney was on every show he could be on.
Mm-hmm.
Giving tips and tricks, and this is what you do, this is what you do. Swindle has sustained his social media so that when they did struggle, they had something to fall back on. They were not just well-rounded fishermen. They were well-rounded in their career as a fisherman.
You are 100% correct. I speak at seminars and social media events and colleges and all that, and that's what I teach, especially these young anglers. If I'm at a high school event and I'm talking to these young anglers who are doing something, it's about social media and understanding sponsorships. Don't just go, hey, don't go onto Instagram and message 84 companies asking for free baits because you got 8 followers or whatever. Do your due diligence. Try to find out who the marketing manager is. Go buy, if you believe in their products, buy them, buy the products and show them, tag them in your stuff as you're coming up through college and whatever, because the anglers now, I can say the anglers because the ones I talked to, I've talked Tucker, Tyler Williams, all these guys, I've talked to them, Logan, all of them, is that you guys are not paying attention enough to your career because you're so focused on catching fish on the water. And I get it. That's what got you here. And that's what did everything. But without sponsorship dollars, you cannot sustain that freaking career because only this percentage can afford to live off their earnings every year. I think Jesse will back me up on that. The guys just can't go afford off their winnings every year. You might have a great year, a couple good years, whatever. But man, they've got to focus on building their brand and their business. Heck, Slick, you brought me on multiple times, and I preach it till I'm, bleeding out my eyeballs.
Yeah.
Matt Robertson made one cut this year, and he seems to be doing fine because he sold more papaw rods than anybody ever has.
Yep. Here's a funny story. We're at ICAST like 2 years ago, and Matt's contract was coming up for ugly and all that kind of stuff. And we were standing there talking to the pier fishing guys, and here comes the Walmart buyers. And the Walmart buyers walked, oh my God, it's Matt Robertson. And they took photos and they're doing all this. And Matt's just smiling, cheesing up. Oh man, love to take you guys out. And then them guys walked away and Matt just looks through and goes, oh, that's going to cost you dearly. Because he knows it was more important for him to suck up to those buyers for them and Walmart than it was top 10 in the year. You know what I mean? That's where it's at, selling product.
Oh, I'd much rather have a $39.99 rod out there for sale than I had a $500
one.
With Sam sell a lot more.
With Sam Walton behind it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I need to be. We need to get a sponsorship. That's the G Money. You should get sponsored by the Shakespeare combo.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Every Walmart, everybody that walks out of there.
That's like G and them Buckeye jigs that he come out with. Every one of them's in Walmart. They in every Walmart.
There's more coming.
Yeah, that's a dude that knows the business. That's the guy that knows how to sustain his money so that he can continue fishing for a living rather than having to go and sleep in the back of his truck at year 15 and just hope he still makes enough this year. Like, there's more to the sport than that. And I'm not saying Livescope is kind of taking that away because you still got to have a business side to you and have to know how to control your shit. However, that was part of the reason why we were talking earlier. You had 9 young guys compete through the opens. That's something you didn't have before, not just because, you didn't have Livescope. You had people that didn't understand the business. They didn't have the sponsorship. They didn't have the money and the backing to go through the opens or to make it to the elites once they did make it in the opens. Like, you had so much that aren't there, but now these guys can make enough money with that box and do things differently, and everything's changed with that box, whether people wanted to admit it or not. And this right here is going to get it back to you have to know the whole deal. You got to be well-rounded. You got to be your own business. Okay, we're gonna start an LLC because that's what it's going to take, and you got to know how to fish. And I can't wait for it. I'm like Jesse, like to see the old school sport come back to 4 of them tournaments, and then to see everybody else that have to change everything about the sport back to kind of what it comes from, but also still have the new technology with it.
Well,
I'm excited.
My question, I know you say you're excited, and Jesse says he is, and I want to see it too. Is it going to increase viewership? Have we ran the people off? Because
that's what I'm saying. Like, what are those? I'm thinking you can change anything, but with all the new social media and everything else that's out, I think they're gone. Like, I don't think those people come back.
I know there's a lot of them that are still saying, like, I look at Bassmaster's comments when they come out with it, and there was a lot of people mad that they didn't ban it. And then there's a lot of people mad that they did anything with it.
It's like decent, I'm laid up here after my surgery. I can't move, right? So I have watched more freaking YouTube in the last, I guess week I've been laid up in the last week than anything else because it's just I can go watch what I want to watch.
Really?
I can watch tactical bass and promote baits or something or learn something or whatever. I can go watch an old MLF event or an old Bass Lead event. I can watch everything. And there's so many social media platforms out there. Like you said, it's hard in my business. What I do, the hardest thing to do is get somebody to subscribe and stay.
Yeah.
If you lose them, getting them back, it's damn near impossible.
I'll say this: I can only speak for myself. There will be a +1 next year because I hardly watched any of them this year.
Hey, Craig.
Yeah.
Craig, you remember that frog video I sent you today?
Yes.
JT did that.
JT, that was pretty badass.
Well, it was one of my guys did that. Let's put it that way. I just write the checks that pay it. Yeah. Oh, and 6 Cents went and commented on it.
They did?
Oh, yeah.
Well, he's the one that sent it to me. I sent it to Craig thinking it was a 6 cent frog, and then I sent it to you, and then you said, we did that.
Yeah, no, I was just like, and their comment was like, oh, that's original or something, yawning, like, and I was like, the same thing I said to you. I said, well, why don't you go back about 6 years ago when we were animating underwater crawfish and everything else? It ain't our first day at the rodeo either. So
tell him I got a frog. Tell him I got a frog I need to talk to him about anyway.
We got a lot more coming.
Boy, don't get me started on that. But all jokes aside, back to what we were saying, like, I know I can only speak for me. There'll be one more than there was this year. I would keep up with the results. Usually, and Slick will vouch for this, I would be keeping up with the results. Day 2, I would text Slick, tell me how this guy always seems to be in the top 5. This is not what we come up with. This is not the sport. The sport is set up for this not to happen. How the hell is it happening? Tell me how these 3 guys are consistently in the top 15. The sport is not set up for this to happen. Why is it happening? And that's what I would do with Bassmaster. I wouldn't watch it. I would keep up with the score tracker or whatever, bitch to Slick, going about my day. Next year, I'll turn it on. I'll watch it. And, like, they will get some guys like me back that are okay with the box being on the boat. I don't care. Okay? I'm not saying ban it. However, it's like Jesse was talking about earlier. I want to see the guys that are the best at everything else to do with the sport. I want to see the guy that knows when to pick up the trolling motor and go to the next spot. To me, that is one of the biggest parts of the sport that we lost in the last 5 years.
So what about throw this what if out there? Because I like what ifs. What if those sophomores and rookies kick ass next year at the events where they ain't got Livescope?
That's
Dude,
going to be bad.
I want to come back on here with the same group. We'll have the same question because I'm just saying it's a lot. It's the thing with everything in life. It's so easy to generalize. We can throw all the rookies in together. We can throw all the scopers in together. There's always an exception rule. There's 1 or 2. There's whatever. But dude, I can't even begin to tell you that. I mean, how just mind blowing it would be if 4 or 5 of them guys are right up there in the top 10, and it just didn't come from the 4 or 5 live scoping events. They won one, that was other, or they placed 8th, 9th, 10th, however.
Easton Fothergill is coming for them boys, with or without it. I'm telling you.
I can go ahead and tell y'all.
Craig, I fucking grew up with him.
Did you see his Bass Talk Live interview?
No.
So it was Lee, Joe Lee, Easton, somebody else. I can't remember. But anyway, I turned it on. Again, I can't move. I'm sitting here watching. But he looked so mad. Like he looked like, gee, he had that. Oh, I'm coming. Like he was mad.
I'm telling you.
If we're working off ifs and that's the scenario, also if my aunt had a dick, she'd be my uncle. It ain't gonna happen like that, boys.
Okay. Craig,
anglers.
Craig,
I'm not saying
in this day and age, you can't say that now either, Greg.
Craig, listen. There's exceptions to everything, okay? And I'm telling you now, I've heard people on here say that Tucker Smith wasn't going to catch them. And listen, Tucker Smith is good, period. Easton Fothergill is a good fisherman, period. The fact that they use Livescope and have made it they become experts with it, doesn't mean that that's all they can do. Now, am I going to say Easton's going to dominate or Tucker's going to dominate? I mean, I actually made a video last year. You can go back and look. I said that Tucker Smith would win more his rookie year than Trey McKinney did. Yeah, he didn't. He didn't win as much, but he did win an event. But Tucker Smith's legit.
Cool, bro.
Let me tell y'all. Let me tell you who's going to dominate. And y'all did mention his name, but I'll tell you who's going to dominate. And it's none other than Jordan Lee. It's going to be within the top 1 or 2 angler of the year. I'll say top 3 AOY.
Oh, that's a given.
I would bet $1,000 right now.
Thank you, Jesse. It's gonna be those bridge anglers. Okay, let me put this in perspective for y'all. If you got a guy that can build houses every day but uses a drill and screws, that don't make him a bad house builder. Okay, he can still build the shit out of houses. But when you tell him you ain't building this one today with a screw gun and a screw, you got to build it with a hammer and you got to swing it. House ain't gonna be built the same. If he grew up with a drill and screws and never truly had to swing the hammer, then the house ain't going to be built the same. I'm like Jesse. In a couple years, they'll come around. But all this shit of top 5, when 4 of the tournaments take away the one thing that all of those guys made it on, ain't going to happen. Ain't going to happen.
I agree.
I'm not calling any of them bad. I'm not saying any of them can't fish. It is a different level when you have to go from having something that changes the absolute total way you fish. We're talking about fishing where they're at now to learning how to fish where they're going to. Every one of them took 10 years to do that.
Craig,
comments are saying shut him up.
Craig thinks the louder you talk, the smarter you are. Everybody's talking about how loud Craig's talking.
I apologize. But I ain't wrong.
Okay, Craig.
We've done said that 10 times. You keep saying the same thing. We know.
Okay, so
Craig,
Craig, go ahead and make a proclamation that you don't think any of those rookies or sophomores will be in the top 10 AOY.
There'll be multiple sophomores in the top 10 AOY. I'm gonna say in the top 10. I'm gonna say at least 1, probably 2.
I'll say probably 2. I think Tucker. I think
2 or
Tucker,
3,
possibly Tucker and Easton.
Nope.
I remember when I started, it was a huge deal for a rookie to make the Classic.
Yeah.
My rookie season, 4 of us made the Classic, and that was like one of the records or something.
Hey, we're forgetting about Emil Wagner too. Emil Wagner, to me, I didn't consider Emil Wagner a scoper.
I did. I told you about him. I told you he was badass.
Emil Wagner, Paul Marks, they're great scopers, but they were winning without scope.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about this is another thing, and I'm going to take the scoper side and the young people's side for a minute, because I watched what my kid has done since he was 10 years old. They have so much at their fingertips with the internet. And not only that, they start in high school. If you do it right, you can start in the 7th grade and start fishing just like the elites do. And I'm talking about professional tours. Then when you get to college, you fish 2 professional tours. You fish MLF and bass, and they send you all over the country and they pay for it. So by the time these kids get out of college, they've already been fishing a pro tour schedule. They have everything at their fingertips.
They've traveled the country.
Say that my kid has seen every fish that's ever been caught on camera, because that's all they do is watch it. We didn't have that. When I grew up, if I wanted to see something about bass fishing, I had to hope I could catch it on Saturday or wait to read it in a Bassmaster magazine. It's not that way anymore.
Yeah, that's why it's not going to take the young guys as long. That's what I'm saying. It's just they're going to be so much faster.
Technology totally is different. Like you said, it's at their fingertips. There's a doctor once told us there's a kid today will never ever have a question go unanswered. It's right there at the figure. You can ask Siri anything you want.
Yep.
You don't have to go to a microfiche. You ain't got to go to encyclopedia.
Yeah.
You can have an answer in 30 seconds to
Hey.
any question in the world.
Wait till you see what
Chat.
ChatGPT can do.
Exactly. About to
I
say,
use
chat.
it daily.
Type it in. Type in what to do on
ask
Lake
them where
Guntersville
you
in
need to go
January.
in Guntersville. It goes
tell
to
you.
every YouTube video and finds
It'll
the
tell you.
exact area.
Yep.
It'll
It
tell
does
you.
it for you, and that's AI. And I mean, dude, somebody had the best comment earlier. I got to say it. They said, "I think Craig's cap locks or his caps lock is on his keyboard." Oh, that was the best. Whoever said that, that was the best comment ever, man. Craig's got his caps lock on.
ChatGPT scared the shit out of me when I saw a video about something like you can type it in and it is like it's crazy what it will tell you about fishing. So I typed it in on the Delta and I said I want to catch the biggest fish. I'm in a tournament. I'm launching at Live Oak Landing, and when I tell you that it sent not only the creek but told me to look for the run out ditches draining on a falling tide and throw a top water in them, and I'm like, holy shit.
I should have used that when I came there.
Yeah, you should have.
Anyways, here's proclamation earlier. I'll make the proclamation that there at most will be one freshman or sophomore in the top 10 next year, because a lot of people are forgetting that elite field has guys like Brandon, what's his name? Brandon Cobb, Patrick Walters, Justin Atkins. Got all those bridge guys that are in that elite series. Those guys like that are going to excel to the top. Now, we're not talking about your Brandon Polinick, Seth.
But here's the thing, though.
Dude.
Here's the thing, though.
Yeah, I shut up, Jesse.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Sorry, my screen's going blinking. No, here's the thing. They have 4, possibly 5 events with it. A few of those guys are going to get 4 top 10s with it. They will. I promise you, they will. Especially if it's on the lakes where it's dominant. So that's going to be a top 10 in Angler of the Year right there, just with those 4 events.
That's
so
fair.
You got to keep that in mind too. Not all of them will make a top 10 in all 4, but there'll be a couple scopers that make a top 10 in all the scoper events, like Koya, possibly some of them. So keep that in mind as well. That's going to keep them up there in Angler of the Year. You got to think about it like that too. So top 10 with 100 guys does a lot for Angler of the Year.
Yep. So, yeah, 105 points out there.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting, though. It's going to be fun to watch.
Dude, I enjoy
this. It's just like ours. It's going to.
Well, yeah, yours. Sorry to cut you out, but yours is one of the funnest years. I mean, I called Boyd multiple times. I said, dude, MLF was so much fun to watch this year. I enjoyed the crap out of it.
Yep. I agree. I watched it when I'd get eliminated almost every tournament.
Here's another guy that's kind of faded off in the past couple of years. Not really faded off. I shouldn't say that. That's disrespectful. But how good are your guys like Jason Christie going to get to rebound?
Yeah. No, I agree. That's why I said it's going to be fun to watch. Hackney and Christie, and like just to get to watch them flip on tough events when you can't scope. God, that used to be some of the most fun to watch stuff. Yeah, it's not fun to fish in, but it's just fun to watch.
I think that's going to kind of offset that top 10 on the scoping lakes. Is like you're going to have guys, you're going to have maybe a couple of guys that absolutely dominate the no scoping tournament.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
You know, like you are going to have guys on the opposite side. Those scopers, true scopers, freshmen, sophomores, may not make a top 20 in a couple of those events.
You're right.
Oh, I will say, this point right here, 360, if that's allowed up there on the St. Lawrence, that would be everything without Livescope.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, you'll have to have 360. That's the only thing. They'll have to ban it because the Lawrence guys don't want to have to buy.
That would suck not having it.
They would have. That's why they banned it in ours. So, because, that we've straight up said Lawrence guys do not want to have to buy a Humminbird just to be able to stay up, so they banned it in ours. So I figured they will for theirs.
360 is still allowed in theirs?
I don't know.
I don't know. I bet it
They
won't
never
be.
put it in
Surely.
that release or not. I don't know if they've said if it is or not.
Imagine
They
that.
better.
If it just depends on if Humminbird may have paid them enough to not just to ban forward facing.
Oh, Jesse,
If they did.
Jesse, money does not matter now. Money does not dictate what they do.
Okay.
I think the change is going to be a lot more drastic than people want to give it credit for. Of how much the first year some of these guys will struggle compared to the older guys and the bridge guys. Not listen, they'll whoop your ass at your home lake. Okay, none of these guys are scrubs. However, compared without live scope to the bridge and the older guys, they're probably not close.
The good news is we're going to get to see.
Yeah.
That's just it. I
So-
mean, everybody can sit here and talk about it all day long, and like Craig said, I'm not in the what ifs, but it's a what if. Some of the old guys might not do as good as everybody thinks they are. It's going to be a crazy year. I can't wait to watch it go down. But I'm not putting anything against the rookies, the old school guys, whatever. I'm just as a fan going to tune in and watch all 9 events and see what happens.
It's one thing about it, in PFL last year, they garnered all the attention when they banned it. Everybody's talking about the NPFL. And now Bassmaster doing what they've done. I mean, I think there's going to be a lot of people tuning in tomorrow to see the schedule and I said schedule, not schedule.
No, you said schedule.
I said schedule earlier. That's still what I'm going to call it. But there's going to be a lot of people tuning in tomorrow.
Hey, while we're here, who do y'all have for AOY next year?
Joe Lee.
Joe.
If you give me 3, I'm going to say Joe, Kyle Welcher,
Johnston,
and Chris.
One
One of the Johnstons. I agree.
Yeah.
Write it down, Slick. Write yours down. I'm going to write mine down. We'll see which one hits. I'm going to take Joe Lee, Patrick Walters, or Pollinet.
Who you got, JT?
Man, that's tough. I got to get because just because I want to piss everybody off and I don't want to do it, I'm going to pick Trey. I'm going to pick Joe Lee. Man, my third one.
G Money's going to piss everybody off because he's
I'm gonna go with my boy because I think he's due for another good year, Lee Livesey.
All right. G Money.
Yep. Jordan, Easton, and Lee.
That's a good one. I agree with Lee.
But Easton's going to surprise Craig's ass. I'm going to call him every morning.
Somebody just said Matt Robertson, and I'm going to say this. Matt Robertson is due to have one of those breakout years, and I think Livescope got in his head a little bit. And so now you got him coming back. These guys are going to have to be fishing with a lot more confidence this year, I think.
Yeah. I was just thinking about something. Livescope kind of robbed us of what we was fixing to get to see Jordan Lee do, too. You know what I mean?
Don't that piss you off?
Go back and look at what he was fixing to do. Like, I mean, up until 2020, he won Angler of the Year 2020. I mean, he still won with Scope. Don't get me wrong. He's done fine. But, like, 2 classics, heavy hitters, everything in MLF, and then Livescope just kind of just leveled the field, obviously. But I was just thinking about that a while ago while y'all were talking, like, how much he won before 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was fixing to be nuts.
Look, we talked about fishing that new dual threat tournament trail because we were like, I was like, dude, they go to Kissimmee. You've never lost at Kissimmee. We would win 100,000 for sure.
For real, that's guaranteed. Yeah.
Dakota Ebear's another one. I mean, there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
I'll tell you who a guy that I forgot about and a buddy of mine is Cody Meyer.
Yeah.
Because Cody can scope and Cody he fished up about and qualified through the opens that first year and he didn't use scope too much. He went back to throwing a Senko and a chatterbait and demolished them.
Cody will be top 10 AOI. You can probably mark that down.
Hashtag bridge guy.
Yes.
Just saying, like,
he's a hashtag fish where they're at guy.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
All jokes aside, I think you're going to see those middle-aged guys like Jesse was talking about, late 20s, early 30s, really start to take over the sport and dominate. Absolutely dominate.
Hey, somebody just commented,
Japanese guys, I'm very interested to see what happens there.
how great would Aaron Martins be with Livescope? We've talked about this a bunch. Could y'all imagine?
He'd have it figured out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was just one of the he would have been good for sure, especially if he would have had it when he was young.
Or either he
Like
would have hated it.
grew up with it. I mean, obviously he didn't need it, but it would have been. It would have, like, you think like Ayler. Ayler was one of the best with 2D, and he's good with forward facing, but he's not Drew Gill, you know. Like, and Ayler won a shit pile with just regular 2D before forward facing. So,
I mean, you say that, but why wasn't Kevin Van Dam an absolute menace to everybody with it?
but, well, he had Hummingbird.
Yeah, that's true.
There's so many anglers nowadays that are absolute studs in the pro field, not studs. I'm talking about studs in the pro field.
Thank you,
that
Chris.
get looked over because of the Livescope technology. Like, I'm not saying it's unfair, whatever. Like, there's a lot of guys that you don't even think about anymore, and you forget how good they are pre the box.
Listen, Jesse and I talked about Andy Morgan today, okay? One of the most underrated anglers in the world to me is Andy Morgan. I think you can talk about Denny Breyer, you can talk about all these great flippers, but I think Andy Morgan's the best flipper ever. And in their format, all you can catch, you don't see it. And then with Livescope, you don't see it. But And Andy Morgan's going to the MPFL next year. So we'll get to see his skills in the MPFL where it's 5 fish and he can just go flip. Ain't got to worry about scope.
What's old boy's name that travels with Edwin and Morgan or Montgomery? Andy Montgomery and Ott. Ott hardly ever gets mentioned anymore. Ott's a stud.
We won the last event, so he was mentioned there.
Well, I'm just saying, like, there was
yeah, I know, I agree.
There was a long period there, like after Ott won the Classic, and he went to MLF, and the box kind of became a big deal. Like, everybody's top 10 didn't have Ott in it. Like, who would have thought in 2019 that you would be making a top 10 of fishermen in this sport and Ott Defoe's name wouldn't be in it? You know, like, that's what it done to the sport. Who would be thinking that there would be a 19-year-old kid, a 22-year-old kid in a top 10 list, and Ott Defoe wouldn't be in it?
I want stop and think about this for 1 second, though. All right, Slick, you're a prime example because Lake, your kid's coming up, he's growing up with it, all this kind of stuff. So you haven't told him no or been that parent or say anything because your beliefs might not be the same. You're letting him do his own thing, right? Every one of us on this call would have used the crap out of it, would still be doing it. But now you take a Trey McKinney or you take a Easton father. Let's say Easton because he won the Classic, right? And a bunch of grown men like us are out there just screaming. Your kid worked his tail off. He doesn't know anything different. He used what was available to him and what was in the rules. If it was your freaking kid or your relative, we would all be doing a different thing. So when I see the comments on here that just piss me off, like calling these kids and stuff like that, it's like, dude, the kid just whooped your ass, whether it was scope or not. He won the damn Bassmaster Classic, and it's like an asterisk beside it's going to go down in history. And the poor kid didn't get to enjoy that, which he followed the rules and he did what was done to get the job done and won.
I think it's almost like it devalued the Classic in a way for him. That was what was bothersome to me. Now, don't get me wrong. Winning the Classic is not as valuable as it was 10 years ago.
But that's not because of Livescope either.
No, that's not because of Livescope. But that was hard to watch, the negativity thrown at Easton because he won with Livescope.
Yes, it was.
Sickening. I agree with that.
Sickening.
I'm with you on that. Like, and somebody asked, do I hate Livescope? No, I don't. I don't think it should be banned. It's part of the sport now. I don't think the A rig should be banned. Okay, like I'm not one of them people that's just like ban everything.
I do.
Trust me, You can ask Slick. I have one working graph on my boat. I find great pleasure in going to beat guys' ass that has Livescope, 360, and everything else on their boat on Tuesday nights. I smile every time, and I'm not like, man, they need to take that off there. I just sit and tell folks, you just be glad I ain't got it, because these two I won in a row would be 5. So congratulations. But I'm not.
So you're saying Craig Johnson would have won the Classic over Easton Fothergill if he would have had Livescope? Is that what?
No. I agree. I agree with the whole Easton getting shit. I don't agree with that.
I was just kidding.
But like, just because I like it better that they're splitting it up does not mean I hate Livescope. And it's like I've said 35 times in this deal. I don't think any of those guys suck. By no means. I personally think the guys that have been at that level for so long are head and shoulders better without the box, because a lot of these guys come up with the box. Okay?
Nobody's arguing that. Like, even
they ask if I hated Livescope.
No.
What gets me is you're talking like these people are attacked Easton. You're talking shit about a kid in a position that you will never be in your life.
Exactly.
You're gonna sit there
and never work your butt off.
I mean, it's just like the NFL players that or DeBoer right now. I mean, honestly, like there's plenty of people talking shit about him, but he's like, shit. They got to pay $70 million to get me out of here. So I mean,
that's still warranted, G-Money.
He ain't going nowhere for a while, boys.
Craig, I'm raising the money already. Don't you say that shit.
G-Money, that was a terrible analogy about the boy.
Well, I probably shouldn't have used that. I should have used somebody else.
But I mean, he's right. I mean, it just sucks because they've followed all the rules. They've done everything. They're in there now, and they can't even enjoy it. And granted, some of them, they've brought the spotlight on themselves. Let's not even go down that rabbit hole. We know that. But I'm just saying, it sucks for them, man. And I know everybody says, well, it sucks for the older guys. No, man, because they still followed the rules. They didn't do well. Okay, I can't say it. Some of them followed the rules.
I gotta get out of here, boys.
See, they followed the rules and they did it, but it's just like, man, it's the internet, the hatred, everything else. It's just over, and it's fishing, man. It's freaking fishing.
Well, hate comes with everything that you have.
You live on social media now. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
I built it off everybody hating.
I don't get a lot of hate.
I swear, I'm scared to
my
go
TV show.
Slick.
When I had my hunting TV show, I got death threats every week.
Really?
Well, we posted
literally death threats.
Oh my gosh!
Wow,
we got attacked
because you were shooting stuff.
Yeah, for deer.
Oh yeah. If your followers they don't know you're a hunter or something like that, oh buddy, they'll drop.
They still go back and comment on ours.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still gonna post it because the way I think about it is the people that are freaking out over that, you're never going to support me or buy a product that I'm promoting or anything. So I really don't need you.
100%.
Anastasia said, "Where's Craig?" We muted him, so he got mad and left.
Yeah, we can talk shit now. He's gone.
Yeah.
Craig would have won. Craig said he would have won the Classic if he would have had Livescope.
I wasn't listening to what he was saying, but
he said he almost sounded like one of those guys that was like, man, if I had a car, I'd have bought some good car insurance back in my day. He almost reached the point that he would have almost was ready to say if he had Livescope, he would be leading angler of the year in the Bassmasters right now. Like that's not what he said. But he was really starting to think like that, I think.
He's sitting off screen right now. I didn't say it like that.
Look, we may need to start with a Tuesday nighter.
He said he dominated Tuesday nights without it. That's what I was saying.
He said he'd win 27 instead of 21 in a row.
Yeah. Oh Lord.
He is pumped in the air right now.
Craig's
All right, I'm getting off here. Y'all talk about me. I'm going to bed.
all right.
See y'all.
See, Jesse.
Well,
Yeah, I think I took a hydrocodone about 30 minutes before you asked me to come on, so I'm getting sleepy too.
well, I know I messaged you because I didn't know if you were
Yeah.
capable of coming on, and then
Oh,
even
hey,
after
look at. Whoa, hang on.
even
Look at how old man they got a walker.
it's funny you got that. I sent Jolie a picture this morning of me on a walker, and I said, "This is me coming out of my bathroom after busting down 5 beaver dams."
Yeah, I seen that video, dude. Y'all are nuts.
You know what we should have
Why
done? We
didn't
should have done
Tannerite? You should have Tannerite.
one of those Trey Taylor videos. You know, the one that's going viral right now. Have you seen that?
Mm-mm.
Where the kids were fishing in the pond, and the old man comes up and he's like, "You got permission from Trey Taylor?" But it's viral on TikTok right now.
Well, you're gonna see it after this, yeah.
You've probably seen it and you don't remember.
Yeah. No, so next time I'm down here at Gunnersville or something, I'll take it to Jacob and Todd, and I'll leave them. Oh, Sonic Boom used to be one of my clients, and it's basically Tannerite. That's how we blow up all of our beaver dams.
That's what I told
You
Slick.
mix up 5 or 10 pounds of that, back the old boat up, and shoot it and blow it up.
Yeah.
Mute.
What to do? And Poche messaged me and he's like, "Y'all got to jump them beaver dams." And I'm like,
Of course you did, yeah.
we got an 18 horsepower, so we can't get the
Yeah,
running
umps to get up out of there. Need a
but
gator tail up in that country.
yeah, it was it was work. I'll say that, but we're gonna get there, and when we get there, it's gonna be special. My dad
If
talked to me
Oh.
about. My dad's talked to me about what he used to catch in there. My cat has chased a freaking rabbit in here. Are you kidding me?
No, you're lying.
Floyd
You're
buckets.
lying.
I promise you, I'm gonna go get it. Floyd buckets.
Turn the camera around. What are you talking about?
Yeah, hold on, I'll turn the camera around.
what is it?
A rabbit?
Hold on, I'm gonna show you.
Unless
Yeah.
oh my God!
The cat has chased Floyd buckets.
Don't show that.
Just don't show his girlfriend. She's gonna be over there driving tonight. You're getting a bunny. G Money's getting a bunny.
Stop, Floyd. Stop. He went under the bed.
That's Dunzo.
Yeah, that's dead rabbit. Oh, I heard it screaming.
Floyd, come here. You can't go under the Floyd. Dad, come here. Floyd, come here. Floyd buckets.
Rest in peace.
Floyd, come here.
Oh,
Come here.
this is the best entertainment all night.
No shit.
And my hydrocodone's kicked in, so I think it's funny as hell.
Come here, Floyd. Come here. Come here. Yeah, you can't. No, buddy. Oh, you can't have a rabbit.
Look, this means you have to keep that rabbit forever.
Oh no. I bet we know a lady that would drive all night long to get that bunny to take home to her man.
I
no.
just hope Brooke didn't see it because it's in my bedroom. So golly. I looked
Little
up
baby bunny.
I thought, what is that running? And the little baby
Better than a
rabbit
rat.
comes flying in, and Floyd's chasing it up the stairs.
That means there was more outside if it was a baby.
Yeah, the whole family. Mom's gonna come knocking on your door.
I don't know how it got in here. I mean, I got the door open to let him go out because he was whining.
Oh, there's Brooke.
Oh gosh, she saw it. I'm gonna have to keep it now.
So you're gonna come down carrying it.
Yeah, I guess Piper has a bunny now.
Well, gentlemen, I'm about ready to crash.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go save a bunny now, I guess.
Yeah, that is crazy that you have a rabbit in your room right now.
G-Money, do you remember the night we were on live and the possum got in your garage?
Hell yeah, I remember that.
Oh, my
Oh, that was awesome. And listen, JT, he had a helmet on and a bat.
Oh my god!
And a net.
On a possum. Just grab it by the tail.
Yeah.
No. I chased it down though.
Brooke, he's locked in my bedroom, and I'll go up there and get him when we get off. Brian says he's got the video of it. Me chasing freaking rabbit. Y'all would have never believed me if I wouldn't have shown that.
Nope, I wouldn't. Yeah, that's why G's like, grab the phone, grab the phone.
Yeah, I'm sitting here with the camera and I'm just watching. I mean, I can't believe I didn't video the whole thing, but I was sitting here and I saw that the rabbit came from the kitchen, and then Floyd went after it. Bless his heart, he's scared of it. So,
all right,
anyway,
y'all.
let me tell everybody that's in here so y'all know. I can't say the price because I can't advertise it, but at GAF we have props, 23 and 24-inch Furies and Tempest, cheaper than you can buy them anywhere, and got a bunch of them. So
A lot cheaper.
GAF Marine got the props if anybody needs one. So cheaper than you can buy them anywhere.
With plugs.
Man, I gotta go get a dadgum rabbit. You gotta be.
You just put your GoPro on your chest and go in
That's
there.
right. Well, y'all have a good one.
Yeah, hope
All right.
you get
No
better,
problem.
JT.
Thanks, buddy. We'll see
All
y'all.
right,
See y'all.